Hello there, this is Beth Gath, and I'm the Media Literacy Coordinator here at the Peabody Public Library. And first off, I want to let you know that this class is kind of geared to go at your pace, which means you can minimize, fast forward, stop this, go away from this, come back to this at any time. This class is pretty big, and I'm just going to be honest with you right now. It's probably going to be one of the biggest classes that I have streamed thus far, and it's broke up into several different sections, so you're definitely going to want to fast forward to see what is all in this class. You're going to have stuff about your Android, more than a phone, how to use the Android, how is the Android different? We're going to talk about the notifications, your app drawers, how to get those wallpapers, your settings. We're going to talk about your camera. We're going to talk about everything that's involved with the Android, and that's why this class is so big. Please don't get discouraged at all. I don't want anybody to feel overwhelmed. That's why I put these at your pace, so you can always write down the time of where you stopped and pick it back up later. But this is a very large class, so I just want to let you know about that. Also, if you're a part of the Computer ClassPass incentive program, you're going to want to be listening for your secret code within this class so I can get you marked down for taking the class so you can be on your way to prizes. And you can get that to me by either coming in, emailing, calling me, however you need to. And if you're not a part of the incentive program and you want to be, please get with me so I can further assist you. And please also remember that one-on-one appointments are always available to you, and all of this is free at no charge to you whatsoever. So without further ado, I want to welcome you to Android. So right now I just want to talk to you a little bit about Android, and the latest version of Android is the KitKat, and you're probably familiar with some of the other ones that we've heard of, the ice cream sandwich, the gingerbread, and so forth and so on. So this one now is the KitKat. It is the latest version of the world's favorite operating system for mobile phones and tablets. We're going to be talking a lot about the Android 4.4 software, which is through the Google Play edition of the mobile devices. And so you definitely want to be following along so you have a better understanding of the Android. I'm also going to be kind of comparing some of the older versions versus the newer ones. So if you have an older Android phone, no need to worry. We're going to touch base about that as well. But I just wanted to kind of let you know what the newest version is, and the latest version is the KitKat. So if you're not familiar with that, you can definitely go onto Google and just type in latest version of Android KitKat, and it'll give you all the information that you're going to need to know to get yourself started on that. So we are going to go ahead and get started with the Android. So in this section, I just want to tell you how Android is more than a phone. And what I mean by that is now you've got yourself this new thing. It's called a smartphone. And of course, you can use it as a regular phone. You can use it to make calls, send messages, receive messages. And in the past, you've probably been able to surf the web on some of those older phones. Well, this isn't any different. You're going to be able to surf the web on this as well as checking your email. So you're entering this wonderful new world of technology. Some people may tell you that your smartphone can replace your PC. For many tasks, that's definitely true. You can connect to the internet using some of the new technologies, but you can also use the Wi-Fi. That way you can surf the web while you're on the go, handle emails, check your calendar, and other things you used to do on your PC. So you can do a lot of these same things just by going to your phone. You also have a camera, an MP3 player, and a GPS game player on here. But there's more. Your new phone can also replace many of the other gadgets you've been using. So for example, you have the camera, the MP3 player, the GPS navigational system. You now have a pocket translator, a handheld game device, etc. You can even use voice input to search the web or to give other commands. But don't forget about those apps. There's definitely more. Actually, today there's some 400,000 apps in the App Store. Now, what apps is an abbreviation for application. Some of them are preloaded on your phone, but there is an enormous selection available for you to download from the Google Play Store and other sources. These are in many categories, from simple games to powerful apps that can really enhance your daily experience. Many apps are free, Perhaps you'll have some advertising in that, but they're free. Some you have to pay for, but usually the prices are quite reasonable, much lower than your typical PC software. Most apps cost you less than $5. The most powerful apps use a combination of information from the phone's sensors, which is like your microphone, your camera, your GPS for location, and different things for movement, and databases in the cloud, combined with similar information from your friends. So you can also have your social networking on the go. Social networking is more and more important these days. Facebook, Google+, and Twitter are becoming the most interaction with others for many people. Using your smartphone with its camera, location-based services, you can instantly upload pictures from where you are, check in with your friends nearby, type in or use that voice input to provide updates and get the latest as you move along. Facebook, Google+, Twitter, and other social networks are often integrated in the software, for example, straight from the contacts, but they also have their own apps as well. So they do have them separated. You'll now have a barcode scanner. You can use your phone's camera to scan barcodes on products, then look up the prices and reviews. You can also scan data matrix and QR codes containing URLs, contact info, or there are several choices in the barcode scanner. You now have a weather forecast. There are a number of widgets and apps that will provide you with the weather forecast right on your home screen or one of the other panes. You can also here's some recommendations to nearby facilities. You can find nearby restaurants, bars, stores, and more with just a few taps. Get access to special offers, great deals from local businesses, save your favorite places and share them with friends, and so forth and so on. See the world with different eyes, your phone's camera, which allows you to globally travel. It has a global travel guide that overlays and is contributed content over the phone's camera view, giving you information on your surroundings. It uses the phone's GPS, compass, and movement sensors to match your position in relation to the landmarks you point the camera toward. The app works great as a tourist guide, but also can be useful for finding the history of places anywhere around you. You also now have a social mobile location. So for example, like Foursquare and Rumble helps you explore the world around you, keep up with your friends, get closer tips, and unlock discounts and rewards. While on the go, you can easily tell friends where you are, share pictures, get their comments, and so forth and so on. What about songs? You hear a song you don't know, hold your phone up to the music to identify a track. Buy it, watch the video, get the lyrics, play it, and so forth. You have also got some education right at your fingertips. There are many apps that are both educational and recreational. One good example would be Google Sky Map. You point your phone at the sky and Google Sky Map will show you stars, planets, constellations, and more to help you identify the objects in your view. You even have photo editing now. Even if your phone doesn't have a screen large enough to do complicated photo editing like big PC Photoshop, there are a number of picture editing programs. So for instance, they have Adobe Photoshop Express. You can use the great app Pixay to color correct your pictures and add word balloons, titles, graphics, effects, and distortion, all in fun. It's all in one, easy to use interface. So I summed up pretty much the whole class in a matter of seconds here, but we're actually going to break this down and we're going to talk about each one of these individually and how this phone is going to benefit you. So now I'm going to talk about how Android is a little bit different from your iPhone, your BlackBerry, your Symbian if you have one of those. In 2 words, flexibility and diversity. Android is more open system than most other phone systems, which means you can tweak and customize to your heart's content. Apple's iPhone is a closed system in which Apple develops and sells both the software, which is the iOS, and the hardware for the iPhones and iPads. Apple has to approve each and every app that is published for their system. The Android software is developed by Google, which then releases to an open source to device manufacturers like Samsung, Motorola, Sony, LG, Huawei, and so forth. They develop the phones and tablets and tailor the basic Android software from Google to their devices. That means there is much more device diversity. You can find Android phones and tablets with many different screen sizes, with or without keyboard, budget-friendly, and super phones. That power, the flexibility also means it's a bit more complex, like iOS. Android is centered around applications, most often called apps. So Android phones feature app icons. The home screen is simple. All of the app icons can be moved or deleted except for 3 unmovable icons: the dialer, the application tray, and the web page. The drawer looks quite similar to the home screen of the iPhone. As shipped by Google, Android includes 5 built-in home screens, including the main home screen. Some other versions have up to 7 screens. You can move among them by either sliding your finger to the left or right, or by touching a dot at the bottom of the screen that represents one of the screens. Each of these screens can be customized by adding widgets, shortcuts, and files. So for example, you can devote one screen to social networking apps and communications, another to news and feeds, and another to your entertainment, and so on. Your navigation buttons. There are 4 buttons across the bottom of most Android devices for navigation. Your phone may have slightly different symbols. Even the order of the buttons may vary from one phone to another. Some older Android phones have more buttons. Some new ones have fewer. If you have a phone or tablet with Android 4 or later, then there are 3 buttons on the bottom screen itself. So if you rotate the phone, the buttons will move too. Thus, the Android can be more power at your fingertips to navigate and perform tasks. So you also have a notification bar. Android has a very useful notification system. It's the top line of your screen for phones, at the bottom right for the tablets. It will normally be visible all the time. Here you can see. We're going to actually go into it, but you're going to be able to see your time, your battery state, your network state. Android will also show icons in this bar where there is an update that may need your attention. For example, a new text message or email. Android will not give you any nasty pop-up messages in the middle of your screen. You will see a notification on the top. Then whenever you're ready, you just swipe your finger down and the notification bar will roll down like a curtain and cover your screen. Any messages will be displayed there, and you can click on them one by one or dismiss them all. So we're definitely going to be talking about that as well. Multitasking, very easy to multitask. Android has always been very strong in multitasking. It means that you can listen to music at the same time as you surf the web or download updates while you do other things. To get a list of your running apps in the Android 4, you press the Running Apps button and you'll see a snapshot of how the screen looks. In older versions of Android, you press the button for a few seconds, the home button, and then you'll see a list of icons of recent applications. Okay, so the last thing I want to tell you about that's a little bit different are the widgets. A key feature of Android is widgets. You can think of a widget as a small program that's running and showing you live information. By using widgets, you don't have to click on an icon to start an application in order to get the info. Instead, the widget will display that info right away when you unlock the phone. So like your weather, your calendar, your stock market, switches to turn on and off your Wi-Fi, GPS, and Bluetooth. You can also do some customization. There are many ways for you to customize your Android phone to make your phone suit your needs. Most users change which apps are on the main home screen, and other screens they add widgets. You can have live wallpapers. You can have favorite photos rotate as your wallpaper. You can even replace the interface with a custom launcher. So you can see that there are several different kinds of options and differences between the Android and the other devices. So now we're going to kind of break that down and get into some of these. So we've heard some of the terms, and now we're going to actually apply some of those terms that we have been hearing. We're going to talk about the Android interface now, and you can see here that I have two different pictures. These are two separate phones, and this is kind of what it was talking about earlier, where you'll have 3 or you'll have 4. Let's start with that first picture on the left, and the redded in area is your notification and your status bar at the very, very top. This is where you're going to find that battery life, your time, whether you're connected to Wi-Fi, whether your alarm clock is on, whether you have any notifications. That's where you're going to find that. Then, of course, you've got your Google search box, and this is where you're going to be able to find anything on the web that gives you direct access. That little microphone that is next to it allows you to do the voice input, so you don't even have to type if you don't want to. You also have the widget analog clock, which you can actually change that clock or have it removed if you want. You don't have to have it, but it is something that is a widget, and it is there, so you're always seeing your time. You've got the right and the left swipe to other screens. It was telling you earlier that, you know, your devices probably have several different screens where you can put those apps on there. And by that arrow from left to right there, it's just letting you know by using your finger you can swipe left or swipe right, and it's going to take you back. You have folder with the app icons, and you can see that picture there showing you what kind of apps you have in the folders. You also have your apps dock, and that's kind of like your taskbar on your PC. That's where you can store the most usable items that you use the most right there. You also have your on-screen buttons, which is your return, home, your recent apps. That's what all those are. And then, of course, you've got your app icon shortcuts, and that's where those are. So moving on to the right picture, we can see that there's not a whole lot of a difference. You still have your notification and status bar in the upper corner. Let you know any kind of notification and the status of your battery life, your time, whether you're connected to Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. You still have that search box that allows you to get straight connected to Google, or you can use the voice input, which is that microphone off to the side. Just by pushing that and saying what you want to know, it'll just automatically input for it. You have the right and left swipe to other screens still. You have your application icons, which are right down there, kind of similar to your apps dock. Notice that that's kind of been replaced, and we have this now. Then you've got your navigation to the right screens and your navigation to the left screens. So if you have an older phone or maybe a smaller phone, maybe it's on a different Android system, you may not only be able to swipe left and right, but you may also be able to navigate by having those dots on the corners. You also have your apps dock, which is right there. Notice how you can't get as many on this one as you can to the picture to the left. And you also have your navigation buttons, and it was talking about that earlier, how you may have 3, you may have 4. It just depends on which Android you have. So why don't you right now go ahead and minimize and pause this video, get your Android out, and just kind of take a look at it. I'm assuming you know how to turn it on and off, and you're just going to kind of take a look at it and find out which one kind of pertains to the device that you have. I wanted to let you know about other Android examples. For instance, I've got 3 different pictures here. These are 3 different kinds of phones. You've got your Android, just a basic Android to the left, your Samsung, and your HTC. I have a 30-page list, front and back, with nothing but all of the smartphones and tablets that are affiliated to Android. Android is huge. What makes Android so huge is the fact that, you know, with the iPhone, you get what you pay for. And what I mean by that is you can't upgrade your storage on the iPhone unless you upgrade it through iCloud. If you buy a 16 gig iPhone, you're stuck with a 16 gig iPhone. With Android, it's a lot different than that. You can actually buy memory cards that you can put in your Android phone that allows you to have as much memory on that phone as your phone is capable of having. So that is definitely a bonus of having other types of Android devices or tablets. That way you can have as much storage on there as you want. If you're a picture taker, it's probably a good idea to get yourself a micro SD card. Even if you bought a phone that's 8 or 16 gigs that comes with it, the Android is nice because you're able to add extensions to the memory. You can have more stuff on the Android. Now, with the iPhone, you can upgrade your iCloud, but only so much can go on that iCloud. You can't, not everything's going to go on it. Some of it's going to go straight to the phone. Whereas with your Android, you can send all of those pictures straight to it. Most of your apps will go right to it, and then you're freeing up that space on your phone. So I just wanted to let you know that there are several types of Androids. You are not limited. If you have any questions about Android devices, if you're thinking about getting one, please get in contact with me. I have a fabulous list, and we can research together to find out which product would be the best for you. This here is just your typical Android tablet. Some of them may look a little bit different to you, but I wanted to kind of touch base of the interface of the Android tablet. We hadn't really talked much about that. But again, very similar to the other Androids, there are several different kinds of Android tablets out there. So if you have any questions about that, please get with me for a free appointment, and we can look at these together to decide which one may be best for you. And again, the Android tablets are very similar to the smartphones in a lot of ways. You can put more memory on these like you can your smartphone, so you're able to keep that information all on a micro SIM card, or a micro storage card, if you will. That way you have some more memory on there. So even if you bought a 32 gig tablet, you could still put a 32 gig card into that tablet, and now you have a 64 gig. And if you're not real familiar with gigs and how much space that is, it's a lot of space. You're going to be able to get a lot of pictures, a lot of videos, a lot of apps, and a lot of stuff on there. So keep that in mind. But the Android tablet is kind of basic, and I just wanted to go over it briefly with you. Your Android tablet may look a little bit different than this, but for the most part, it's going to be around about the same way. You have your search box, which is very similar to our smartphone. That's that very top left picture there with the red square around it. You still have that voice input, so you can push on that microphone and say what you want to say and not worrying about typing it. You also have your home screen indicator, which is located in the center. This is where you can do that left and right swiping, and it takes you to the different pages. You have a tap to launch app drawer, which a bunch of different dots. If you push on those dots, it's going to open up all your apps, and then you're going to be able to see all of them in there. You have your weather widget, like we've seen before. You also have your email notifications and your date widgets. These are all widgets. They're all things that go on the home screen, so you have easy access to them. Your app icons, you can just tap to launch those, and those are all along the bottom there, kind of like what we had seen before in our notification bar, or in our bar that keeps all of the app docking station is what they call it. You have your system bar, which is in the bottom left, and those are those three main buttons that we'd seen on the smartphones. And then of course your notification area. This is letting you know about the Wi-Fi, the battery life, the time, whether you have an SD card hooked up to it or not. That's the picture there to the far left under the notification area. So as you can see, the Android tablet is very similar to the smartphone. So if you can get yourself through that smartphone, you're not going to have any problems with your Android tablet. If you have a tablet, go ahead right now and pause and minimize this, or even with your smartphone. Pause and minimize and go away from the video, just so you have enough time to kind of get yourself familiar with some of the things that we're talking about. Now we're into the section where we're going to talk about how to set up your Android. The next few slides we're going to be talking about connecting to Wi-Fi, getting yourself connected, and things like that. As soon as you turn on your Android, when you have bought a new Android phone or tablet, you'll have to go through a setup process. This process will tie your phone to the cloud, which is your Google account. It is highly recommended that you set up a Google account if you don't have one. So the benefits of setting up a Google account, I'm going to talk about that with you here in just a little bit. But after you've powered on your Android device the first time, you will be asked to select a language. And we can see that to the picture of the left. You scroll down the list and pick the one that you want. And it looks like they're picking English. and so forth. So that is the first step of setting up your Android, is getting your language selected, getting it powered on, making sure it's all charged up, and things like that. We're going to talk about your Google account and getting yourself all hooked up to that here and after a while, but this is the general part of setting up your Android. Getting connected to the Wi-Fi really isn't that difficult at all, and we are going to be talking about quite a bit of that in this next section. You must be connected to the internet either by having a SIM card with your internet connection installed or using Wi-Fi. To use Wi-Fi, you connect to a wireless access point or a hotspot. Some hotspots are open and you can simply connect to them. Others implement security features that require other steps to ensure that only authorized users can connect. And so we're going to be talking about how you can get yourself connected. You may need to check that your device's Wi-Fi is turned on before you get started. You will be presented with available Wi-Fi connections, and then you just pick the one you know. If it's marked as secured, you must know its key. So that's what we're talking about now. And this part here is showing you how you can enter in that security key when you select the Wi-Fi network. You tap on the input box for the key, then you use the on-screen keyboard below that'll pop up to enter the value. Once you have a connection to the internet, you will be presented with the choices of logging in to an existing account and so forth. So we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But just to get you connected to the Wi-Fi, the first thing you're going to want to do, and this is part of your process, if you don't have a SIM card installed to the phone, you're not going to be able to connect to a mobile network, so you're going to want to make sure you get yourself connected to Wi-Fi. So you would connect to that, you would find your home or whatever it pulls up that you're familiar with, you would push on that, and if it's not secured, meaning it doesn't need some type of security code, then it's just going to move right on and you're going to be connected. If it does, then you'll have to put in your code. So that's what this is. If you haven't had a chance to check out your Wi-Fi, go ahead right now and minimize the video and get your Wi-Fi checked out. In these next few slides, we're going to be talking about getting yourself connected to a Google account. It's very important that you get yourself connected to a Google account, and let me tell you some of the benefits. You can have multiple devices tied to the same Google account. Your phone or tablet data will be backed up in the cloud, so if you lose your phone or your tablet, you can easily restore all your emails, contacts, calendars, and apps. All Android devices tied to the same account will see the same data. So for example, if you have an Android phone and an Android tablet, you will see the same emails, contacts, and calendars on both. When you do changes to the cloud data, for instance, in your mail, contacts, or calendar, on one device it will be changed on the other devices automatically. If you purchase an app for one device, you can get it on another device without paying any extra. You must have a Google account in order to download apps from the Google Play Store, or also known as the Android Market, even for free apps. So you have to have that account. Your search results will be more personalized, and you can easily access more Google services, share your photos with your friends. Note, you don't have to give up your old email system. If you already have one or several, for example, Yahoo or Hotmail, you can still set up those accounts for these on your device, but in order to get access to the Play Store or the Android Market, you must have a Google account in order to tie your device to the cloud with apps or to purchase anything from the Play Store. So here is where you would actually, if once you get to a certain point, if you already have a Google account, then you could just sign in. If you do not have a Google account, then you would be able to create yourself a Google account. Assuming you already have a Google account, you just enter your username, and you will need to enter that at gmail.com and your password in order to sign in. When you sign in with a Google account, all the email, contacts, calendar events, and other data associated with that account are automatically synced with your device. If you have multiple Google accounts, you'll be able to add others later. Okay, so if you don't have a Google account, then you can create one by using your Android device. You just choose a user ID and a password. So you would push on create. You can also use any PC. You can also use your PC connected to the internet to create an account. So once you get yourself connected, you're going to get a message that'll take up to 5 minutes for your device to connect. Most Android devices have a built-in GPS sensor, so your location can be tracked, which we're going to talk about location tracking here in just a little bit. This way, Google will use that to better do your search results, and some users may feel uncomfortable enabling it. So it is at your decision and your will whether you want to enable that. But this here is all about getting yourself connected to the Google account so you have access to all of those apps. So if you don't have a Google account, you can create it on your Android, or you can get with me and we can sit down together and create you one and get you all connected. So it's up to you. Everything is a preference. Just give me a call and I can help you. But definitely want to pause and minimize this video so you can kind of get an idea of your device and just take a look at it. I just kind of wanted to go over creating that account one more time just so you kind of make sure, I just want to make sure you understand that if you already have a Google account, you can go ahead and sign right into it. Now let's say that you don't want to mess with any of it right now and you don't want to sign into Google, you're not planning on downloading anything, you can definitely skip this process and come back to it later. But keep in mind that you're not going to be able to get those apps or updates or anything like that unless you have that account created. So if you don't have a Google account and you want to have one, you can just click on create. It's going to take you to a new page and you can see that middle picture there. You're going to create a new Google account. You're going to put in your name and your last name, and then you're going to create some kind of a Gmail. That's what a Google account is. It's your Gmail and password that you've set up. So if you have a Gmail, you have a Google account. It's the same thing. Once you get that process all done, then it gets you all signed in, and then it communicates with Google, and you're all set to go. I wanted to touch base with you one more time on creating an account. And again, do not get overwhelmed or discouraged. If you need any help whatsoever, please get in contact with me. I'd be more than happy to assist you and sit down and work on this with you together. But you have three options. You can either sign into your existing Google account, that's your Gmail account. You can skip the process altogether and do it later, or you can go straight in and create your account from there. So go ahead right now and minimize and pause this video. Decide what you want to do on your accounts. As part of the setup process, Google is going to be asking you to turn on your Google location. Google Location Services provides applications with your approximate location without using GPS. You can disable these features in settings under location and security and under search. So you're going to have a couple of different options when you are choosing that location service. Most Android devices have that built-in GPS sensor, so your location can be tracked. Google will use this to provide better search results. We had talked about that earlier. So you definitely want to make sure that you've got those on if you want them. Again, this is a preference. This allows Google Location Services to collect anonymous location data. Collection will occur even with no applications running. You can use My Location for Google search results and other Google services. So this just tells them where you are. So if you're looking for something specific, a restaurant, a movie theater, something along those lines, they'll know specifically where to look. If you already had an Android device connected to your Google account, you can get all your apps, mails, contacts, and calendars restored on your new device. So once you're logged into that Google account, you can get started on syncing, and you can also do the restore, the backup, and set your date and time. So that's all part of that location tracking. And don't forget that the first thing you definitely want to do is power up your device using the power on button. It's usually located on either side or the top of the device. Some older phones use one of the buttons on the front to power on and off. If your device was powered off, it will reboot, which may take a minute. You will see some animation. If your device was in sleep mode, you'll go directly to the lock screen, and so forth and so on. So we are going to talk about a lot of those features later, but this was all about the location tracking and how it's going to be able to find you and the things that you are looking for. Now we're going to talk about your lock screen, unlocking and locking, setting your silent mode, and things along those lines. So now you are in Android 4.0. The lock screen consists of a circle that you can drag either to the lock in order to unlock the phone or tablet, or you can drag the circle to the camera. Then the device will unlock and start your camera app, which is very convenient for a fast shoot. Another new feature is the capability to pull down the notification bar to see all details to see all your details, missed calls, any messaging, right from the lock screen. You don't have to unlock the phone first anymore. For tablets, you can just press the notification area at the top right of the screen, right on the lock screen, to see all notifications. You can also access settings right away. So here we are going to talk about the lock screen and unlocking and locking it. So first off, I want to show you here. You can see that there's our three pictures. The first one is the Android lock screen. So it just kind of shows you how it's set up, how to unlock. You can see there that they have their picture on the unlock and they just swipe it across. And then to put it in silent mode, you would just do the same thing. And that would get you to your silent mode. So this is just talking about unlocking and locking your screen and how easy it is and convenient for you. You can also see those notifications right there on the screen, which is kind of nice. Let you know your date, time, how your battery's going, whether you're in Wi-Fi or your Bluetooth on or your alarm's on or however you have it set up. So just keep that in mind when you are unlocking and locking the device. So go ahead right now and just take a look at your Android and see how the locking is set up for you. Now we're going to talk about the settings, whether you have an Android phone or an Android tablet. As usual, we have some variations on how to get to settings on Android phones, depending on how the phone manufacturer has skinned the Android. There are several ways to get to them. A universal method is to go to the App Store, then select the settings icon. If you'd like to change your settings frequently, you can put a shortcut to settings on one or more of your home screens. In the Play Store, there are many specialized apps for certain settings. Some examples are toggles for sound, Wi-Fi managers. So if it's one setting you'd like easy access to, then just pick one of the apps in the Play Store. So here I have on the left hand side a picture of an Android that's a 2.3. It isn't the 4.0. However, it's the same type of concept, and that's what it means by skins, is how it's set up, how it looks, and the difference between them. So with the newer Android, you have a little bit different of a picture, and I've got a picture of that also there for you. You can pull down the notification bar and tap the settings icon, which we're going to talk about the notification bar in the next slide, but you can pull it down and there's a settings button there for you. And you also have different things that you can do. This way you have direct access to the most common settings, which is like your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, GPS, sound, and auto rotation. Also, it shows you your battery life, turning on your Wi-Fi, and things to that effect. So that notification bar is definitely going to be helpful. So here in the center, I have a picture of what these settings actually consist of. And then on the right-hand side, I have a picture of what a tablet screen would look like with the notification setting on it. So you can see from your notification settings that you have, or just from your settings in general, you have where you can turn on your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth. You can also check your data usage from here. This will let you know how much memory you have on your device and how much more you've got to go. It has a device category, which includes your sound, your display, your storage, your battery, and all your apps. And then you have a customized setting in there also, so you can go in and customize some of that stuff. And then you've got your personal settings, which are your accounts, your location services, which we've already talked about, which is that location tracking, your security, language and input, and your backup and reset. And then you've got the system itself, which is all the stuff that's on your system, which is your date and time, your accessibility, your developer options, and then there's an About This tablet, which is a great resource. It's almost like a help tool, so to kind of guide you through it. So why don't you right now, if you have a older version of an Android, you might just have that settings button right on the front. If not, go ahead and take your finger and put it at the top of the screen and just pull down, and that's going to give you your notification bar, and in there should be your settings. Just kind of take a look at what your settings look like and how you have them set up. Now I want to talk to you about the notification bar that you have on your phone. The notification bar is sometimes called the status bar. Actually, in fact, it is both. It's located at the top of your home screen for phones and at the bottom right for tablets. So you can see here I have a couple of pictures of how to access and activate that. We're going to actually go over some of the notification icons here in just a minute, but I wanted you to understand the setup of your device. In order to see the details about any notifications, you can just pull down the notification bar like a drop-down curtain. Just slide your finger from the top of the screen downwards. You can then see the details about a notification by pushing the item. If you have a notification for a text message or an email, you can see the text message or email by pushing that in its notification. To dismiss all notifications, you can just push the clear button, so it'll take care of all those. With the Android 4 and newer, you can also access the notifications from the lock screen. Furthermore, you can dismiss any notifications by sweeping it from left to right. So we had talked about the lock screen earlier, so you would have access to that as well. On a tablet, you would tap the area around the clock at the bottom right, then the notification panel will pop up. You can tap a single notification for emails, whatever you've got there, and then see the details. You can dismiss any notifications by sweeping it from left to right. So you can see that bottom left picture there. They're using their fingers sweeping it from left to right, and that removes them completely from the screen. This is about your notifications, and again, that's going to be your missed calls, any text messages, emails, any notifications you may get from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anything that you have turned on your notifications for. That's what this is all about. So go ahead right now and just try to get those notifications to drop down for yourself. If you're using a tablet, in the bottom right hand corner you should have a button you can push for your notifications, and they'll pop right up onto the side, and you can erase those by swiping left and right. So just give that a try. In this slide, we're talking about the most common notification icons that you would get through Android, and also the most common status icons, which are that picture right in the dead center with the red circles around it. You have notifications, and then you have status. The left-hand side is where your applications and message services can drop you a note that there's something new to look at. The right-hand side section is where Android gives you the basic status information for your device. So you can see here on the left-hand side, that's any information from your carrier. The right-hand side of your telephone at the top or your tablet would be the status of the device itself. The status icons indicate the status of your phone or your tablet about the time, the battery, the signal strength. Network status icons turn green if you have a Google account added to your phone and the phone is connected to a Google service. For syncing your Gmail calendar, contacts, for backing up any of your settings. The network icons turn white if you don't have a Google account or you're connected to a Wi-Fi network that is not connected to the internet. So that kind of tells you a little bit about what those icons mean. And here I just have a list of what some of the icons that you're seeing on your phone. If you don't know what they are, this is probably what they are. You've got connected to your GPRS mobile network. Your GPRS is in use. Connected to Edge mobile network, Edge in use. Connected to 3G mobile network, 3G in use. Mobile network signal strength. Connected to Wi-Fi network. Bluetooth is on. Connected to a Bluetooth device. Airplane mode, alarm is set, speakerphone is on, roaming, no signal, no SIM card installed, vibrate mode, ringer is silenced, phone microphone is mute, battery is very low, battery is low, battery is partially drained, battery is full, battery is charging, GPS is on, or receiving location data from GPS, so that's that first group there. And then you've got the new Gmail message, a new text or multimedia message, problem with the text or multimedia message delivery, new voicemail, upcoming event, data in syncing, problem with sign in and sync, SD card or USB storage is full, an open Wi-Fi network is available, phone is connected via USB cable, phone is sharing its data connection via USB, phone is sharing its data connection as a Wi-Fi hotspot, phone is tethered in multiple ways. Then you've got more notifications, call in progress using Bluetooth headset, missed call, call on hold, call forwarding is on, song is playing, uploading data, download finished, connected to or disconnected from virtual private network, carrier data use threshold approaching or exceeded, application update available, and system update available. So if you have any questions about these icons, please get with me and I can help you understand what your phone is trying to tell you. But let's just take a few minutes here and just take a look at the different kinds of icons that your phone has. So I'm just going to take a brief minute and a moment of silence, if you will, so you can take a look at all these different status and notification icons. Okay, so we're going to move right along here, and next we're going to talk about how to use that menu button on the Android. And the next two slides are a little bit comparison. This one here is a picture of the Android that does not have those three vertical stack dots. If you have a newer version of Android, then you would have those three vertical stack dots. This version does not have the three vertical stack dots. This is how you would get to them. Android is very flexible and it evolves very fast. Manufacturers can decide to change layouts and behavior of the system, so users may experience different ways of doing things. One such example is the handling of the menu button. Google changed the design from the Android 3 for tablets and the Android Phone 4 for phones. So some Android devices may have a dedicated menu button, others may not. This does make it a bit challenging when you're trying to learn as a first-time Android user or a beginner, but there are also some older devices that get the Android 4 upgrade, so you would have those three vertical stack dots. But don't worry, it's very easy to get the hang of it. This here is a picture if you do not have a automatic menu button or those three stack dots like we see there in the picture. If you do not have that, then that's what this is. You would actually need to go in and tap on your Play Store. You go tap on your Play Store and then it takes you to the left screen. For phones with a physical or menu button, you tap it and then you get to the right screen in which your choices are My Apps, Accounts, and so forth. So it's getting to it from your Play Store, and you would have a dedicated home button in that area, and then that would pull up your My Apps, Accounts, and Settings. So again, this is if you do not have those three vertical stack dots and you have to do it manually. Most of the newer Android phones do have it. So again, don't panic, don't worry. You're going to get through that part of it. So if you do not and you're having a hard time getting through it, just get in contact with me and I can help you and assist you with that. Okay, so here's an Android that has those three stack dots like we had talked about a few seconds ago in the slide before that, where you could just push on those three dots, go to your Play Store, tap the menu dots, and then select your menu item. And you can clearly see that you have the same exact menu options that you have here as what you had in the other one. So the goal here is to make sure that you can have those three dots. It's going to make life a lot easier, but if you don't get discouraged. You'll get through it, I promise you. It's just trying to get you to those main, your apps, your accounts, your settings. It's just a menu to get you back to where you were if you get lost in the Android system. So go ahead right now and just kind of find where your menu button is, determine what kind of a version you may have. Again, don't get discouraged. If you need any assistance or help, please get in contact with me and I'd be more than happy to assist you. Here's a look at a more common Android where you have the 3 dots that allow you to go in and get those menu options. So if you take a scenario of the newer phones, to get to the menu in an app or a context-sensitive button will appear, it means that if there aren't any menu choices for that particular screen or app, you will not see that choice. So you will see a 3 vertical stack dots, like I have pictured here, and like what you saw on the last slide. So here's how the Play Store looks on devices without the actual... Now we're going to talk about finding your apps in your app drawer. The app drawer is sometimes called the app tray. It is a collection of all the apps and widgets installed on your device. You reach it by pressing the launcher button, which is the key marked with the small rectangles in the apps docs for phones, as seen in these examples here. So you can see that on the Android 4.0, it's in the middle, whereas with the Samsung TouchWiz, it is on the right, and then your HTC is on the left. So there's several different places where you can find your app drawer. For tablets, you tap the small rectangles in the top right corner. So you would see that on your tablet. You will then be presented with the app drawer tray. All applications or apps installed on your Android device appear in the apps drawer. Although you may find shortcuts to some apps on the home screen, you can go to the app drawer to find everything. You can see all your apps by scrolling to the left or the right. Some devices use up and down instead, in the same way as you scroll among your home screens. To start an app, you just tap its icon and it runs. To return to the home screen, you can just tap return or home button. And as you can see, the Samsung has modified the app drawer by including the app dock, so you have the access to the home screen there as well. Many Android devices have their apps sorted by alphabetical order. But Samsung has them in order by the way you've installed them. So the last installed application will be on the last page of your app drawer. If you want to change this and rearrange them in alphabetical order, there is a great free app store sort in your drawer, app sorter for the TouchWiz. So that's for the Samsungs. For tablets, the app drawer looks the same, it's just bigger. So you can see here how you can access those. You have certain ones that are just on your home screens, and those are the ones that you've placed there because you want quick access to them. But everything that's installed on your phone has an app drawer or an app tray to it, so you would just push on that app drawer tray and it opens up all of them, and I have a picture there to kind of show you what all the apps look like once they're opened. So this is all about your app drawer and finding your apps. So why don't you right now go ahead and minimize this video and get yourself into your app drawer and just kind of take a look around and see what you've got installed. Now we're going to move on to the wallpapers and adding or removing apps. This is really Android's strength. There are many ways that you can tailor your Android device to suit your needs. Here are the most common methods for changing the home screens. Changing wallpaper, add, moving, or removing a shortcut app, or adding a widget. And we're going to be talking about widgets in the next one, or adding a contact or browser bookmark. Okay, so we're going to be talking about quite a bit of that. But first we're going to start off with changing your wallpaper. This is quite easy. Just a long press on an empty space on your home screen. Then a pop-up dialog will appear that presents you with different sources for wallpapers. You pick the one you like and then close the wallpaper you want. So you can see there to the left, that easy, you get that wallpaper app. Android supports a special wallpaper called Live Wallpaper, which provides some moving images, for example, a waterfall as a background. Be aware, though, that Live Wallpapers can slow down the scrolling on your device and use more battery than a normal wallpaper. So add, move, or removing a shortcut from your app. To add a shortcut to an app, just go to the app drawer, and we've already talked about that, and hold the icon until the screen changes. Then drag it to the position on one of your home screens. You can also move an app shortcut on your home screen by holding it, then move it to the new position you want, and it shows you that in that right picture there. To remove a shortcut, just hold it and then move it to the trash can icon that appears while you hold it. Now note, this will not delete your app, it will just remove its shortcut. You will still have it and you can still find it in your app drawer. One useful thing you can do in most Android 4 systems is to create folders of icons on your home screen. Just drag an app icon on top of another, and then Android will automatically create a folder bordered by a circle. So then you'll have several of them together. You can also place an app icon in the app dock, some called the favorites tray, at the bottom of your home screen. You touch, hold, and slide to move out of the favorites icons out of the apps dock, then use the same technique to move a folder or another app icon into the empty slot in your apps dock. So with the tablet, once you're holding an app in the app drawer, the screen will change and you will see your home screen with the small grid markers which show you where you can place the icon for the app shortcut. You can also move it right to left and change which home screen you want it to be placed on. So again, on many Android devices running the older Android 2.3 version, you can also use the long press method to add apps. Just long press on an empty space on a home screen, and you'll get a pop-up that shows you what you need to do next. So you would just do all that. As you can see, you get a pop-up menu, and then you can choose what to add. You can select shortcuts, select applications, and then pick the app you want to add a shortcut for. And again, this is for your Android 2.3s running on a different system, but I wanted to let you be aware of that also. We're going to be talking about widgets in the next screen, but this is all about adding your wallpaper or removing or adding any kind of apps if you want to move them around. If you have any questions about this, please get in contact with me so I can better assist you with that. So why don't you right now go ahead and minimize this video or pause this video and go in and just kind of see if you can get that wallpaper to pull up and change it around, and then try moving your apps around. One of the major strengths of Android is the ability to use widgets alongside app icons. Widgets are small, continually running app windows, which means they can display live data. They are not just your static icons, like your statistic or your static. Widgets can simply display information, or you can tap them to launch programs. For example, you can tap the clock on the home screen and you're taken to the clock app. So if you push it, it takes you to the clock app. And from there, you can access the desk clock, the world clock, the alarm clock, the stopwatch, and the timer. Widgets from different developers can check your mail, display your calendar, and notify you of new Twitter posts. On most Android 2.3 systems, you can use the same long press as we described in the previous stuff we've been talking about for the shortcuts and apps. And you can... The preferred method is the one used by the Android 4, of course, but you can open the app drawer and do the same thing to get to those widgets. Widgets can have various sizes, and some are resizable. You may see one single widget with many different size options marked as columns, rows. So for example, my widget 2.3 means the widget will use 2 columns and 3 rows of your home screen. To add a widget, just hold its icon until the screen changes. Then drag it to the position on one of your home screens, just as you would do for an app shortcut. You can move and remove widgets in the same way as you would remove an app shortcut like we described earlier. If there isn't any room where you dropped it, the widget won't get added to the home screen. You may be asked to make further choices before the widget activates. For example, if you add a weather widget, it may ask you for which location. It should show the weather. If it should show the temperature in centigrade instead of Fahrenheit, some of the widgets are scrollable too in the Android 4. That means you can scroll info up or down inside the widget space. Android 4 allows resizable widgets. That means you can press the widget, then you will see a border around it and handles that you can drag to change the size of the widget. This is very handy for widgets like Gmail, Calendar, Weather, where you may want to use larger areas. An alternative method, in the same way that you can use the long press method to add shortcuts to apps, you can also use it to add widgets. So keep that in mind when you are working with your widgets. For more information about widgets, please give me a call. It's kind of hard to explain them when we're just using screenshots and I don't actually have an Android device to show you, but you're going to be able to move around on those. So you're going to get a pop-up menu where you can choose what to add. You select widgets. Then you pick the widget you want by sweeping it from left to right, and you can see in that picture there. And the same principle and the methods apply for the Android 2.3 running system, but the screens look a little bit different and you swipe them up and down instead of left to right. So you would pick your widget sideways instead of long ways. So again, this was all about adding your widgets and how you can scroll through them. So why don't you right now go ahead and minimize and figure out how you can get to your widgets. Contacts are a pretty important part when it comes to our phones and even sometimes our tablets, depending on what we're using them for. So here I have how you can add contacts in 5 easy steps. Number 1, and we can see all the pictures are labeled for us, you're going to click on the contacts button in the shape of a book on the main Android home screen. Or you may just want to push on the phone button and it'll pop up. You can also use contacts from the apps page. So you can see that in number 1 where they're pushing it. And then you're going to click on the plus sign in the bottom left corner of the contact screen. It's either going to have a plus or a person and a plus. Might look a little bit different. And then you're going to select, number 3 is you're going to select a place to store that contact. You can store it under a service like Backup Assistance or just on Google. Check the Remember This Choice box if you want, and then click OK. So picture number 3 is where you're going to decide where it is you want to add it. Maybe you just want to add it to your phone or whatever. Maybe you want to make it a Google contact. That's up to you. Number 4 is type in the name for the contact in the top box. Type in the phone number in the box under it, and then scroll down. There's several other things. If you have their email, maybe they have an alternative phone number, whatever. You would just fill all that information out right there. And then number 5 is enter more information like your email and their address. And then once you get all of that done, and then anything regarding that contact, you can even add their birthdays or special days of the year. Then you would click Save in the top right to save the contact and add it to your list. So there you go. 5 easy steps on how you can add a contact to your Android device. If you have any questions about that or you need some more help, just get in contact with me and I'd be happy to assist you. Why don't you go ahead right now and try to add yourself a contact? Just make up a dummy one or whatever. Maybe you have some people that you need to get added. Go ahead right now and get a contact added just to get used to doing it. Now let's talk about your Android keyboard. And we're also going to talk about the Android keyboard settings. I believe that this is going to be a little bit longer, so we'll probably break this up into 2 slides. The first thing you need to know is when you're using your keyboard, you have a certain kind of a layout. You can jump straight into anything that involves it. So with your keyboard, you have a shortcut to the keyboard settings from the keyboard. You can change basic keyboard settings like the sound on and off on key press, vibrate, feedback on and off, pop-up on and off, auto-correction on and off. You can add it or change the input language. You can add another keyboard. You can change the input method. In the settings phones and settings tablets, we're going to talk about the settings of various Android devices. So you can get into the keyboard settings the conventional way on an Android 2.3 through the main settings. Using an Android 4, you would want to go through a different way. You would do it all through your settings. So we've already talked about settings. It is very useful to be able to jump into the keyboard settings right from the keyboard. It enables you to change the settings, the input language, while you're in the middle of a message or an email. The settings key is normally just behind the space bar, as shown in the examples below. So you can see all the different, those three top pictures, Android 2.3, Samsung, and the Android 4. It shows you where your settings, and we've talked about that already, and the different symbols for those. In some devices, the keyboard setting will always be present at the keyboard. In others, it's an option that you have to enable. So you start by getting into the keyboard setting from the settings menu as described before, and then ensure you have selected to always show it in the keyboard settings. So this is just a picture of what the keyboard kind of looks like. Now remember that when you have the keyboard with Android, you now have what's called swipe. And what that means is that you can take your finger on your keyboard and you don't even have to move it away. If I wanted to type I would start on T, leave my finger on, go to H, leave my finger on, and go to E, and it's automatically going to put it in there for me. So swipe is a great feature to get used to. You should try that. You definitely minimize this video, get on your keyboard, and just use your finger and see what it does. And you can actually see a line appear while you are doing the word of where it's going next in each point. It's really cool. So, and then don't forget you've got those settings, and we're going to talk about those next. But go ahead and get in there and take a look at your keyboard, and go ahead and try using the swipe motion like I was talking about. Instead of pecking it to type, use that swipe. So you can just keep your finger on there and you don't even have to move it. So here's a better look at those Android keyboard settings. There are many behaviors you can change with the Android keyboard. And here I have a couple examples for you. Each one is actually more than one screen long, so you would have to scroll on to reveal to see them all, but you're going to see everything. So here you can see on the left, it's kind of an older version. Each of these is self-explanatory. The ones you want to check out carefully are the settings related to autocorrection. If you use an English language setting but want to rewrite it in a different language, it can be rather frustrating if your device starts to change what you've written. But the best way to ensure this is done correctly is to set the input language to the one you actually want. So right here you can see that we have the different kinds of options to our left. You have got your vibrate on key press, a feedback, you've got sound on key press, pop-up key press, touch to correct words, capitalization, showing setting keys, long press keys, input languages, quick fixes, autocomplete. And those settings are very, very similar in the Android 4, as you can see. So definitely making sure that you've got some good keyboard settings is a good idea. When you did set up the setup of your Android device, you selected one system language, which sets the language for the device's menus and messages. That will also become your default input language. However, if you don't have to use just one language for your keyboard, you can select multiple languages, and this is easily to do in the middle of a sentence. So in the Android 2.3, you would tap the settings key, then scroll down to the keyboard settings until you see input languages, and we can see that here on the left hand side, as in the middle screen below. So then you select the additional language. So you would go in and push that. After you've done that, when you are composing an email or a message, just swipe the space bar to right or left, as you can see, and the language will be displayed in the space bar. In the right screen, so you could choose Sweden or whatever, and it's going to go back to the English. You can do that by swiping that space bar again. So you can have more than one language in there. With the Android 4, you would tap settings key, tap add languages, I'm not sure if we can see, well, it's probably in the input languages. And then when you're ready to compose an email or a message, you just long press the space bar and then select the language you want to use. You can change that in the middle of an email or a message. It's completely up to you. You can also add another keyboard. Some of the best characteristics of Android are the openness and modular design. For example, you're not restricted to having just one keyboard that the manufacturer has chosen. If you search for keyboard in the Play Store, you'll find more than 1,000 results. Some of them work as regular keyboards where you tap one letter at a time. It has also become very popular to use keyboards that rely on swiping across the keypad. These methods will interpret that as a letter, and for many users is the fastest way to provide input. So it's called slide it or swiping. But some examples of those keyboards would be Go Keyboard, Slide It Soft Keyboard, SwiftKey X Keyboard, or the Swipe, which is not in the Play Store yet, but it might automatically be on there. So if you install these at any regular app from the App Store, once they've been installed, you may have to go through a series of settings to tailor them to your needs. So you can change the input of all of it. So in the Android 2.3, if you wanted to change the input method, you would need to do that through your TouchPal keyboard, and that's in your settings, language, and keyboard, and then you should enable an additional keyboard. In the middle screen, if you're doing a message, you tap the keyboard settings key and a pop-up menu will come up that says input settings, and you tap select input method and you'll get the right screen where you can change to the TouchPal keyboard. So this was all about your keyboard settings. I hope that you were able to get a lot of information out of it. Go ahead right now and just kind of get yourself familiar with that. So now we're done with the keyboard settings, and now I want to look at the different kinds of ways and methods that you can send a message. If you use the keyboard, you have the swipe, or if you're using a Samsung, you have the Samsung keypad, and then of course you have what's called the voice input, and that's what we're going to talk about now. When you scroll down a bit to see on the left screen, you've got those settings, and we've been talking about that. So here we're just talking about how different ways that you can actually communicate with someone else. And there's three main ways. You've got your swipe keyboard, tap the microphone, and the voice input. So by doing the input and output, you would do that through your settings, and you could click on voice input and output. You've also got your voice, and then that takes you over to your voice settings, and you can do it as voice recognition. Down below you've got your swipe keyboard. This is where you can do that swipe like we've been talking about. You can also tap on that microphone and just speak into the phone and tell the phone whatever it is you want it to type, and it will just directly type it. So you don't even have to type anything. You swipe nothing, and that's what the voice input is, and that's what that next one is. So definitely want to make sure that you understand that. That's a great feature. It's pretty cool where you're able to get in there and change that stuff around. So go ahead right now and just kind of play around with swipe keyboard and tapping on the microphone to getting that voice input. A very common activity for phones is to send and receive messages, especially on the older feature phones. With smartphones, the trend is to rely more on emails and social media, but messaging and MMS messaging, which is your multimedia, which is your pictures, still have its place. You start the messaging app by tapping its icon. Many users have it in the app dock or on a home screen or in the app drawer. And I have a picture there next to the caption. So we're going to be talking about the message app. Android is very flexible, so if you don't like a function, chances are that you can find an alternative in the Play Store that may better suit your needs. If you search for SMS in the Play Store, you'll find many apps. A very popular alternative is the Handset SMS app. Another popular messenger replacement is the WhatsApp Messenger app. Now let's look at a few Android 4 examples. Okay, The left screen shows the messages input box. At the bottom, you have the following actions. You can compose, search, and overflow, which leads to settings, delete, and all threads. Okay? So you've got the compose, which that left picture where it says message inbox, that's with the plus sign. And then you've got your search, which is in the middle. And then you've got your overflow, which leads you to more menu options such as settings, delete, all threads. So let's tap the first message thread at the bottom in the middle screen that the results in the right screen. There you can see messages to, from, one person as a thread. You can simply type reply at the bottom if you want to reply. We're going to talk about replying in the next slide, but here we go. So you've got your message inbox, and this shows you all your messages, and you've got all your settings at the bottom. All right. So then you want to tap on your message, and that's that middle picture there. And then on the right-hand side, that's your message thread, which means that any messages affiliated with that one message is called a thread. So if you reply and they reply to you and you reply to them again and they reply to you again, that's what's called a thread. So this is what messaging in Android looks like. And at the top there on the right-hand side, where it says message thread, we have a red box at the top. This is where you could actually go in and call the person. You could set up an attachment, and then there's our 3 dots. Remember those 3 dots we talked about earlier that are going to get us into our settings, our account, get us to help, and things like that. So go ahead right now and get yourself into your messaging. Replying to a message is very easy. You're just going to tap on the message, tap reply area, which would be at the bottom, and then you're going to enter that text. Now, keep in mind that we have those same options that we talked about earlier. You can use the swipe. You can use the voice input, which is that microphone, so you can get your message back out there, and then you just hit send. So replying to a message is very easy. And again, let's go over it one more time. You're going to tap on the message that you want to respond to or read, and then you're going to tap reply or the reply area, and you're going to enter in the text that you want, and then you're going to hit send. Very, very simple. If you want to practice on this and kind of play around with it, my email address is bgaff@ppl.lib.in.us. And actually that's through email. So if you wanted to send me email, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but if you want to text me, go ahead, 260-418-9984. Send me a text. I would love to hear from you. Tell me who you are. This would be guaranteed to get you at least 3 marks off of your card for the incentive program. So you've got my email address now, and we can use that in Gmail, and I'll give it to you again here in a little bit. And you've got my phone number. So go ahead and send me those texts. It doesn't bother me at all. And then I'll reply to you, and you can reply to me, and now we've started a thread. If you're a part of the Computer ClassPass Incentive Program, your secret code is Android is amazing. Give me that code and I'll get you marked down for taking the class, and you can be on your way to winning some prizes. Now we're going to talk about composing a message, and what composing means is actually creating a message so that you're able to start fresh and start new. To compose a message, just tap the bottom left icon in the inbox. Then you'll get to the middle screen. You fill in the name of the recipient or a phone number at the top, and then tap next on the keyboard to type the body of your message. So you can see here, you would just tap compose, and that's that bottom left button there, and it's going to bring you up this enter to box. So you're going to either enter a phone number, or maybe you already have them in your contacts list, so you could start to type their name, which is affiliated to that phone number. And then, of course, you've got the overflow menu, so you could push on that to enter in a subject, or you can insert a smiley or do your settings. And then at that bottom where it says type message, then you can go down there and type what you need and then hit send. So composing a message is very easy. It's not difficult at all. You definitely want to take advantage of using the messaging system because you're paying for the service, so you might as well be using it. So again, you're going to just tap on Compose, which is that add button. You're going to enter whoever it is that you want to talk to. You're going to type in your message, and maybe you want to use that overflow menu, and then you're going to hit send. So why don't you go ahead right now and send me a text message. Again, my number is 260-418-9984. This automatically gets you 3 class times for the incentive program. I'll mark you down for 3 classes if you send me a text. Tell me who you are, and you can be on your way to winning some prizes that way. But this is a fabulous way to learn how to use that messaging, and I am okay with you sending me a text. Sometimes we take some really great pictures or videos that we want to share with our loved ones and our family, and one way we can do that is by doing it through messages. So you would compose your mail like you normally do, and then when you go up to the overflow menu by hitting those 3 dots, you can see you have a paper clip that's right next to that red circle where those 3 dots are. That's actually going to get you the opportunity to attach something. So if you push on that, then it's going to take you to the attach menu, and this is where you can choose whether you want it to be a picture or audio or a video, or maybe you've created a slideshow or whatever you have that you want to pass on to someone else. So then you would push on that feature, and as soon as you do that, it's going to open up those pictures. It's going to open up where the video is. It's going to open up where the audio is. And then you select what it is you're looking for. You push it, it automatically inserts it, and then you hit send. Very easy, nothing hard about it. Let's go over it one more time. You're going to go into where you want to send a message, and then you're going to push on the overflow menu, which is those 3 dots, and we talked about that. And in the middle of that, between your phone and those 3 dots, is a paper clip. You're going to push on that paper clip. That is an attachment. When you push on that, it's going to bring up a whole nother menu for you. Here's where you can put pictures. You can take a picture right then and send it, videos, or a video right then and send it, audio, whatever it is that you're wanting to send. You push on the category. If it's pictures, it'll take you to pictures. If it's videos, it'll take you to videos. If it's audio, it'll take you to audio. You find wherever it is, whatever it is, push on that, and it'll automatically insert it, and then you can hit send. So go ahead, you've got my phone number. We've probably been texting back and forth already. Send me a picture or a video, and I will do the same for you. And again, don't forget, this is going to count for 3 classes, so you don't want to mess this up. So go ahead, but it's okay if you do. I'm just saying that by messing it up, what I mean is don't not do it. Go ahead and send me a video or a picture. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. Moving right along to using our Gmail. In Android, you normally have 2 types of emails. And we're going to talk about both kinds. You either have your Gmail with the icon in the red at the top, or you've got email with the icon in the yellow. So we are going to be talking about the different kinds of mail that you have. So here, Android allows you to have multiple Gmail accounts. If you only have one, then of course the Gmail app will only show that. Otherwise, you can change the Gmail account by tapping the account name at the top of the left screen. So you can see that above all of our pictures, we have that big bar. It's called it's an inbox menu bar. Here you have the Compose, which is that what looks like an envelope with a plus. Your search, show all labels, refresh, and of course that overflow menu with 3 dots. To act on emails in the inbox, you select one or more emails as in the middle screen. You just tap each one's empty square to the left, and then perform one of the actions. After the selection, the action menu at the bottom will give you the following choices, as you can see. So you'll have the archive, you'll have delete, change, labels, mark unread, add star, overflow menu, and that's that middle picture there, that with the red circle around the bottom. So starting on the left, that's your archive, and then you've got delete, that's like your trash can. Your change labels, mark unread, you can add a star, and then of course your overflow menu. If you tap the overflow icon, then you'll get the rightmost screen with the additional menu actions. And you can see there it's mark important, mute, or report spam. So that's what all this is. It's just you would select an account. So if you're using, whichever Gmail you want to use, and then you are going to get yourself familiar with those different menu options that you have. Archive, delete, change labels, mark unread, add star, and overflow. And then, of course, try pushing on that overflow just so you can see those different menu options. So this is just getting you into Gmail. To compose in Gmail, you would just tap on the compose icon, which is that mailbox in the bottom left there, or that envelope with the plus sign. After you've chosen to compose action, you will see the right screen. You just fill it, the to, subject, compose fields, and then tap send. That easy. And again, my email is bgaff@ppl.lib.in.us. If you're not comfortable with texting, send me a Gmail, not a problem, through your Gmail account, and I'll respond to you through a different account. But this is just getting you familiar with using that Gmail. So again, you're going to tap on Compose, which we've already learned about that from messaging. It looks very similar. And then you're going to add whoever it is that you want to send the message to. You're going to want to add a subject, and then you're going to add in the message and then hit send, which looks like that paper airplane in the upper right hand corner. So if you haven't created yourself a Gmail account, now would be an excellent time. If you're kind of leery and you're not really sure, give me a call and we can sit down together and create it together. But you definitely want to be able to use your Android to the fullest ability. If you've created an account with Android to get yourself started on your phone, then you should already have a Gmail account. This isn't any different. You would just log in with that same account. But I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, so get with me if you have any issues. But go ahead right now and try to send me an email. Okay, so now we're going to talk about managing that Gmail or any other kind of account that you may already have in there. And you can see here that I have some different pictures in regards to that. If you go into your settings from here, you can set the default for reply to either reply or to reply all. But here you can select your email. Let's say that I've sent you an email and you push on it. And as soon as you push on it, you're going to get some more actions. And those are off to the right, and we can see that in that number 2 picture where you've got your star, your reply, and your overflow. If you tap on that overflow, you've actually got a couple more options to yourself. Reply all or forward. So that's just within that. But if you go down to the bottom, like we had been used to seeing before, here's where you've got some more options with that overflow. You can mark it important, mute, report it as spam, settings, help, and send feed. So this is how you get to do everything with all of those accounts. We're going to actually be talking about in the next one how you can set up and use other email accounts using your Android, but I wanted you to understand how you can manage your Gmail, replying, forwarding, and things to that effect. You can also go into your settings, which is that 4th picture, which is in your overflow menu. And go ahead and you can change some of that stuff for yourself to better accommodate what you're using it for. So go ahead right now and just kind of play around with your Gmail account. Using other email accounts is very easy to do within the Android. You would use it for other services like Hotmail, Yahoo, Outlook. You start the email app by tapping its icon. Many users have it on their home screen, or maybe you have it in a folder, but it's definitely in that app drawer. So if you're not finding it on your home screen, then you can just get to it from the app drawer. Now we're going to talk about the setup of an account. So once you push it, on some devices the last step may be marked as Yahoo Mail instead of email. In the setup you'll need to provide the email address and your password, whether you should use this account as a default or send it, etc. Android allows you to have multiple email accounts. If you only have one, then of course the email app will only show that. Otherwise you can change that account by tapping the account name at the top of the screen. At the bottom of the screen you have these actions you can choose. And you can see that in that 3rd picture there. You've got your compose, search, show all folders, refresh, and your overflow menu. And it's actually in that 2nd picture, not the 3rd one. And then, of course, you've got the other ones, which are archive, delete, change labels, and star mark. You've got all kinds of different accounts. So basically, you're going to go in and push that icon, and you're going to set up your account. You need to choose whether it's Yahoo or it's Hotmail or whatever. So you enter in your account information. You need the email and the password for that account. And then you're going to hit it set up. And once you do that, then it's going to set it up. Now, if you have more than one, you can actually go in and select that account. And that's what that picture is, the second one. And then you can act on those emails. You can go in and do what you need to do with them, push them, open them, trash them, delete them. And then, of course, if you want to compose, when you're at the inbox, then you can tap the leftmost of the bottom icons to compose. After you've chosen the compose action, you will see to the right screen, you just fill in the two subject and compose fields. So it's done exactly the same way, and then you would hit send, like you did on your Gmail account. Now, to read and manage one email, in the left screen, you just tap one of the emails, and you can see the immediate actions. So you can either delete it, move it, next email above, next email below, and then, of course, you've got your overflow. And you don't want to forget about that overflow menu. So you do have extra actions and options that you can do with it. But this is all about using other kinds of email accounts. I would be more than happy to help you set that up if you need that assistance. But if not, why don't you go ahead and just... The only way you're really going to learn how to use this device to the fullest of its ability is just by pushing things. That's the only way it's going to work for you. So go ahead and try pushing different things on your emails. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the most exciting part of having your Android phone or tablet, getting an app. Obviously, you need to be connected to the internet, either by Wi-Fi, 3G, 4G, LTE. You start by tapping the search icon, and that's that very first. Well, you start by pushing on the Play Store, okay? Once you're in there, then you would go in by tapping that search button, which is that magnifying glass, and then you would use the on-screen keyboard to enter some search text. For example, stock market or something along those lines. Then a number of choices will appear, and you pick the one you like the best. So in the next part, you can read the description of the app once you push on it. If you scroll down, you can also see reviews that customers have made. And then you can click on the tap download button. You will then get set up where you have permissions of the app, so you should check these and ensure you don't see any strange permission that you wouldn't think this kind of app should require. If you're okay, then tap the accept and download button. Your app will then begin to download and be installed. It's very easy. An option will appear to ask if you want to open it. You can also go to the app drawer at any stage to find it. So here you can see that we've gone into our search and we have typed in stock market. We got the Google Finance. I was able to push it, and then I'm able to get in there to see what it's about. So we're going to talk about that in the next slide. So right now, get yourself into your Google Play Store so we can get to the best part of having your phone. So this is just a be continued slide from the last one, approving your downloads. I wanted to separate this just so you knew. But here's where you can read that description, because you've gone in and you've searched and we've typed in what we want and we've clicked on it. So now here's where we can see what it is, who developed it, how, when it came out, the description of it. Is it going to benefit everything I need? And if it does, then I can hit that download button, and then I can click on accept and download, and the boom, bam, there you go. We are in there. So sometimes you may find it easier to sit with a large PC monitor and go through the Play Store. And you can do that by logging in on the Play Store with that Gmail, or the Gmail account that you created, and you can get in there and you can look at a lot of these apps and stuff. For this to work, you must have connected to your Android device to the Google servers by allowing Android to sync your account. Then you get a list of your apps by clicking My Android Apps on the right corner. If you scroll down on that page, you'll see all your installed apps. At the end of the page, you can choose My Orders and Devices. So there you will see both the free and the fee-based apps that you've installed, including the date. At the top of the page, you can click on the Devices tab, which will take you to the page. The Play Store will allow you to have multiple Android devices, such as a phone and tablet, tied to your Play Store account. So, this was all about approving your downloads. Now we're going to talk about installing them. I just wanted to touch briefly, now that we've learned how to install our apps, approve them, what about those apps that are already installed? And I know we've talked several times throughout the class about where to locate them and find them, but I wanted to bring it home since we were already in here. Excuse me. So then again, you would click on that tap menu dots once you're in the Google Play, and then select on My Apps, because that's your overflow menu, remember? And then you click on My Apps, and then a list of all your apps are going to come up. And here's where you're actually going to be able to go in and delete them, but we're going to talk about that a few slides later. But right now, this is just how you go in and find those installed apps. And again, that's just tapping that overflow menu, selecting My Apps, and a list of them will pop up. So go ahead right now and get yourself into your Google Play Store, tap menu dots, and then select your apps, and then a list of them will appear so you can see what you've got going on your device. I just want to briefly talk to you about changing the Google Play Store settings. If you go into Google Play Store and you tap the menu dots or your overflow, and then you select settings, you can go in and review your settings very easily. And here's where you can turn on and off notifications, you can do the auto update apps, update only over Wi-Fi, adding your widgets, and there's several different options. So I wanted to show you how you can actually change some of your Play Store settings. In the next slide, we're going to talk about some of those settings. Here's a description of the Google Play Store settings that I was talking about, and I have a picture of them to the left. Your notifications, this enables this so you will know when app updates are available. The notifications will appear in your notification bar. The auto update apps enable this so your device will automatically update all your installed apps, since many are updated frequently. But remember, even if this is enabled, you will have to manually approve and update in case the permissions of an app, such as accessing various part of your device, are changed for your own protection. You can update over Wi-Fi. This is enabled so you can access the free Wi-Fi, so you can save on those data connection fees. And also you have the auto add widgets. If this is enabled, each app you download will get a shortcut icon on the home screen. Disable this since your home screen can become very cluttered. This is just a recommendation. All your installed apps will be available in the app drawer, so you can definitely manually add them as you want them. So this is just a little bit brief description of what each one of those means, in case you were wondering. So now you can get back into that Google Play setting and you can see what it is exactly you might want to adjust or may not want to adjust. In the next couple of slides, we're going to talk about deleting apps and managing your apps. The first thing you want to do if you want to delete an app altogether, and I don't mean just deleting the shortcut off your home screen, because we already learned that if we delete the shortcut, it's still an app on our system. Okay. First thing you're want to do is go into the Play Store or get into your the overflow, so you can go into My Apps, and then you would push on the app. Once you push on the app, it's going to bring up the app, and then you can just click uninstall. And by doing that, it's going to remove all of its components from your device completely. Okay, so if you've got those annoying games that won't leave you alone, go in through My Apps, which is through your app store, click on it, find it, because it's installed there somewhere, find it, and then you can click uninstall. So why don't you try that right now with an app that you may have on your device that maybe you just don't want anymore. And there's another place where you can do this as well, which is that uninstall, like we had talked about a minute ago. You can do it straight from your settings, and we learned about how to get to our settings earlier in the class. And then by just going to Applications, Manage Applications, It's going to pull up that whole list like what we saw a minute ago. Then you would push on the one that you're wanting to get rid of, and it will pull it up, and then you would click on install. So it's done exactly the same way as you did before, except now you're doing it through My Settings instead of the Google Play Store. So go ahead right now. If you were not successful in trying to get yourself uninstalled on a program the other way, try it this way. Go in through your settings and click on Applications, Manage Applications, find that app that's just annoying you to no end, click on it, and then click on Uninstall. I promise you're going to see results, no problem. If you are having a problem with this, just get in contact with me and I'd be more than happy to assist you. One great thing that Android offers is being able to enter a PIN code. If you have children that might be on the same account as you, or maybe just anyone that might be on the same account as you, having a PIN so they can't just download things is a great thing. Here's an important setting to remember, your PIN code. You probably want to control downloads, which is quite important. For example, if you have children, if you have enabled the Google Wallet, if you don't set up a PIN, your child can easily find fee-based apps and download, which you will be charged for. So go to the Google Play Store, and in the settings, you scroll down to the list until you see User Controls. Once you do that, then you're going to be in this screen here, and you can see that very first picture there. At the very top, it does say User Controls. So you can go in and click on Set or Change PIN. Then you'll need to enter a PIN code. Once you're back in the settings menu, then you kind of click on the Use PIN for Purchases box. You want to make sure to do that. That way, every time somebody tries to download something on your device or on your account, then they have to put in a PIN. So if you don't give your children the PIN, then you don't have to worry about them being able to download. This is an amazing feature. I highly, highly, highly encourage all parents to use this. Children, if we give them an inch, they'll take a yard, and we all know that already, so we don't want to encourage that factor. So just set up the PIN code. Doesn't take you very long. We're talking maybe 4 digits. You can always remove it whenever you want to. If your child gets older and gets on their own account, then you would be able just to remove it and you wouldn't have any worries. So just keep in mind about entering the PIN code. It's a pretty good security feature. Okay, in the next couple of slides, we're going to talk about using that Android camera. Who doesn't like having a camera connected to them at all times? There's many variations of the camera, apps that manufacturers provide. In addition, you have some great apps in the Play Store. For example, you've got Camera 360, Camera Zoom, or you can just use your regular camera app that is provided to you. The first is the stock camera for the plain Google version of Android 4. In most Google or Android 4 devices, you can go straight to the camera app from the lock screen. Otherwise, you can start it like any other app by tapping its icon, and you can find that in the app drawer or the tray. So now we're going to talk about some of the settings and the controls. So number 1 is your shutter button. That is the button to take the picture. Alright, so we can see that down below. That's your shutter button. Number 2 is the thumbnails of previous pictures. So we can see that in that bottom picture as well. Number 3 is the camera mode, still camera, video, panorama, however you have it set up. And you can just kind of slide through those. Number 4 is swap between back and front camera. So if you have a back-facing camera and a front-facing camera. Number 5 is your zoom control. You can drag it up to zoom into the picture. And we can see that there in the bottom picture. And number 6 is your camera settings. And you can see that as well. That's very familiar. Before you take a picture, it is recommended you tap the part of the picture where you want to focus to be, and then give your phone a second or so to actually focus it correctly. Then you just tap the shutter button. So now we're going to talk about the settings up top. So you can go into your settings by tapping that settings button, which was that number 6 that we saw in the picture. And when you do that, you're going to get this list that comes up. And number 1 is your flash. And you can choose whether you want it to be automatically come on by itself, or you can have it on all the time, or you can turn it off all the time. It just depends on where you are. You've got your white balance. The white balance is automatically defaulted to auto, but depending on what kind of lighting you may be in, you may want to change that setting and play around with it. You've also got your exposure, how you want it to be exposed. And again, this is all preference, and you can just play around with that. You've got your scene, which is set on auto as a default, but if you're somewhere that's action or night or there's a sunset or a lot of motion, then you may want to change that. And then, of course, your camera set, whether you have it on the picture size, the location, and things along those lines. So this was about using your Android camera and the different kinds of settings that you have in there. And don't forget about your settings symbol. So go ahead right now and get yourself into that camera and just kind of play around with it. Earlier we talked about, you know, after you take a picture, you might want to just send it to someone real quick, and that's what this section's about here. Uploading after taking a picture. After you've taken a photo, there will be a thumbnail of the photo in one corner. Tap that and it fills your screen with various options. Some of them will be upload your photo using various means. So we're going to take a look at an example of that, and that's what these pictures are. To the left of the screen, you get a number of icons below the picture that you can scroll left or right. And you can see that in that very first picture. You've got your message, Google+, Gmail, your box, Facebook, and Google Drive. And those are all at the bottom in that very first picture. And in some cases, your Google Plus and Facebook, you can then add a comment to the photo before it's posted to your account. In other cases, text messages in Gmail, your photo will be an attachment. So you can text as you normally would. If you tap the picture, you will get the middle screen, a share symbol. And that's that middle picture there where they've got that red box around the share. If you tap that, you'll get a long list of apps that can handle your photo. Some may be photo editors or other kind of apps, but you can also see all the options for uploads, including social media. The right screen shows an example using the Android 2.3. So, and it's a very similar kind of screen. So if you push on that, then you're going to get a bunch of options. And again, we talked earlier about attaching. As you saw before, you can decide to send your photo as an attachment to Gmail or another email right after you've taken it. However, if you didn't do that, but you want to do it later, then you just go into the Gallery app and it will show you all your photos and videos, and you just tap the one you would like to send, and you'll get a screen similar to the one we've been looking at, where you just tap that share button and you pick whether you want it message, Gmail, email, or what have you. Another way to do it is directly from the message, Gmail, or the email app. You can start the app as we talked about earlier, and then of course you would push on that paperclip, hit the attachment, tap pictures, and attach that file. So there you go. This is all about uploading and taking a picture. After you've taken a picture, and it's very, very easy, why don't you go ahead right now, take a picture and email it to me, bgaff@ppl.lib.in.us, or text it to me, 260-418-9984. The last thing I want to talk to you about is updating your device. I can't express to you how important this is, making sure that those apps are all updated, your system's updated. Google is typically releasing one or more major Android system updates each year. Each manufacturer then adopts the basic Android code with their own modifications for each particular device. Normally, each device will also receive several updates between major Android releases in order to deliver bug fixes, improve performance, battery time, and other things. These updates can be delivered by the device manufacturer or the carrier you are using. Some manufacturers still update via PCs. That is, if you have to connect the phone to the PC using a USB, then use a special software from the phone manufacturer. But most updates these days are commonly done over the air, which means you do them through Wi-Fi, 3G, 4G, or the LTE system. But you may well remember the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If your Android device is working just fine for you, then perhaps you shouldn't bother to check for any updates. And that's true. So here we've got about your phone. You would go into your settings like we've talked about before. Click on About Phone, and then click on Tap System Updates. Tap Check Now. So you would be able to check to see if there's any system updates or what have you. If you go to the Play Store, you'd be able to see if you have any updates for those apps or the applications that we have talked about. So why don't you right now go ahead and minimize this video, go into your settings, click on that About Phone, get into that system update, and see if you've got any updates for your device at this time. Okay. Deep breath. Congratulations, you completed this course. You are now one step closer to understanding your smart device. Take a deep breath. It's over. You should be very proud of yourself. And don't forget, if you need more help, definitely call me and schedule that one-on-one appointment for a better understanding. It is free to you, so you should just take advantage of it. Feel free to email me or call me anytime. Now, by calling me, I mean using the phone number here at the library. Don't just call me randomly on my cell, and I know I've been giving it to you throughout the class, but I am pretty busy, and I don't want you to feel like I don't want to talk to you or anything like that. So remember that the phone number here at the library is 260-244-5541. I've given you this email address several times throughout the class, so definitely use it. Get me that incentive program secret code for this class so I can get you marked down. And remember, without you, there would be no reason for this class to happen. So I want to thank you for taking the steps you need to take to better educate yourself on the devices that you have. And remember, technology isn't going anywhere. It's doing nothing but evolving and exploding. So you doing this right now is definitely gotten yourself one step ahead of the game. Congratulations to you, and take a deep breath and a nice pat on the back. I want to thank the following websites and information for pictures and information that they've given us to have this class. Without the following websites, this class could not be taken place. All narration was done by Beth Gaff.